Well, hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're enjoying my content. Yeah, so today we are going to talk about the black culture. So every person in the world knows how vibey black people can get. So black people, we are those kind of people that you can't be bored when you are surrounded with black people. Like, we are ever happy, we are ever joyful. We just can't You just can't be somewhere around black people and don't notice that there are black people. Like, we are those kind of people that are always vibe full, like fully of vibe. Like, even if you come here in Kenya, you will never get bored. You will never get bored. So I have a video of a white woman. She's an old woman talking about how she was introduced to the black culture, how she got to know the black people, and how she interacted with the black people, and her experience surrounding black people. So she tells us how she was brought from there in Canada since birth, and how she ended up in Jamaica. Currently, she's living in Jamaica. She has 6 years in Jamaica, enjoying her life, just because the vibe that the black culture has shown to her, and how the black culture has welcomed her in Jamaica. So let's see the video, and we'll come back later.
Good afternoon from beautiful green Portland. Who is Auntie Pat, really? Well, I thought I would give you a little history of myself and how it is that I came to have learned so much about racism, and why I am committed to standing up for black people globally. Okay, so as you know, I live in Jamaica. That is a choice that I made, but I was born in Canada, in a mining town in northern Ontario called Sudbury, and it was Sudbury's claim was the nickel capital of the world. Anyway, it was a great place to grow up. I was born in November 1956, the first of 6 children that my parents had. My father was a lawyer, and my mom had been a secretary. She helped put him through law school when he decided to become a lawyer. And so I always grew up in our household. We always had the privilege of listening to my dad talk to us at the dinner table at dinner time about his cases, because he was a litigator, so he was in the courtroom all the time, and it was really interesting to learn about that. And he had a very strong sense of justice, and I think that I know that was instilled in me as well as a child. So growing up in northern Ontario, Canada, where the cold weather starts in October, by mid-November there's snow on the ground, and we can have snow even in May. So it's very much cold and a lot of snow, but very sunny. And so we learned as children, my mother would get us all dressed up really warmly, bundled up with scarves, mitts, hats, snowsuits, snow boots, so you could just see our eyes pretty much. And she'd bundle us up and put us outside. We'd play out there all day, making snow forts, and it was fun. We never knew any different. But moving to Jamaica, now I moved here permanently in 2018. And so now it's really, the cold weather I find is very hard on my body, and I am much, much healthier living here. Anyway, this is part 1. Thank you. I'll do part 2 next. Part 2, who is Auntie Pat? So, I was born, my official name on my birth certificate is Patricia Ann Trainer. I always kept my father's name. I didn't change my name when I got married. So anyway, I grew up and I had my dad's Aunt Jane. She was a high school English teacher, and she was such a role model to me that I became a high school English teacher. And I loved art as well, so I also did a lot of art in university and art history, and so I taught art and English. And I taught in a Catholic school, so I also taught religion. I loved religion because you could really have great discussions with the students, especially the grade 11 course, which was world religions, where we got to talk about all the different religions, and that way I could bring in a lot of stuff about different cultures, and we could talk about racism, what really happened to the Native people of Canada, the Indigenous people, and so on. So I loved being a high school teacher, and that brought me to Jamaica as well. I had been here on vacation starting in the early 1980s, and then I took a leave of absence for a year and from my teaching job in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada, and came to Jamaica and chose Titchfield High School because of the beauty of Portland. I was struck by the beauty, and as an artist, this was something so special to me, the beauty of Portland. All of Jamaica is beautiful, but I particularly found Portland to be exquisite, and I still do. So, where do we start? Well, I've started, right? So this is part 2, and now I'm going to go to part 3. So part 3, growing up in Sudbury, Ontario, as the eldest of six children. I have 4 sisters and 1 brother. There was always a lot of work to do. Our mom was a full-time homemaker, but she did an amazing job. And we helped with the cleaning and cleaning up, cooking. Saturday mornings would always be doing housework, helping mom with that. I also did a lot of babysitting and, every night cleaning up the kitchen. I just remember, we were just always, both my parents were always very, always busy doing a lot of things. Productive, being very productive. And it was always just assumed that we would all go to university. That was just assumed in our household. So, what can I say? There were very few black people. There was 1 black family in my high school. I can remember them. And they were really good athletes. It's kind of a stereotype. It doesn't mean all black people are great athletes, but, they happen to be really great athletes. And I would say in high school, I was the president of my student council in grade 12, and we used to have dances. That was the big thing. And back then it was, so we're looking at the early 1970s, it was all rock music mostly, and we would get rock bands. I would hire rock bands to come in and do these dances. But in the culture in Canada, especially Northern Ontario, it's a really heavy culture of drinking alcohol. Going to the bar and getting drunk. People drink to get drunk. I might be generalizing, but that's how it occurred to me. And so even before the dances, we would get wine or vodka straight and just drink. I can remember drinking a $1.05 bottle of wine before the dance, and then just being totally out of it. Nothing to be proud of. But what happened was I started to not be so happy about my culture, because people actually weren't dancing either. They were just standing around listening to the rock bands. So I went away to university, to Queen's University in Kingston, Ontario. And that introduced me to the world of black culture, especially Caribbean culture, because there were a lot of engineers that were sent, mining engineers from Guyana, who were black men. And they were we had a sister floor and a brother floor. We would have parties for the residents. My residence back then was just girls, women, and there was a men's residence. So we would have parties, and that's how I got to know some of these guys. And one of them was from Ontario, but he was Guyanese. His dad was a professor at a college. So he introduced me to the other group of guys, and so I started being invited to the West Indian parties. And there was a West Indian student society at Queen's, and it was like a whole new world opened up to me. Part 4. So I loved the music, I loved the dancing, I loved how the culture, the parties focused on having really nice, delicious food. It didn't focus on, there was alcohol, but the focus was not on getting drunk. In fact, that was really kind of frowned upon, or not, it wasn't cool. Very different from my culture. People love to dance, and I felt so, it just felt like coming home. It felt like being in the right place. So that's really how my whole love of Black people started. And from that, I chose to be around Black people because I love their vibe, their energy, generally speaking, the coolness about, what can I say about that? It's like just a way of being that is so cool and peaceful and fun-loving, and not letting things get to you, not stressing, just keeping cool. So I really love that vibe. And what happened? Yeah, so in university, I dated a Guyanese engineer, and I dated an African man from Guyana who was there doing his PhD. And that was the story about my roommate, my white roommate, English roommate, who slept with my boyfriend from Ghana. And that I caught them, and that was betrayal, and she was like renting a room, subletting in my 2-bedroom apartment with me. So I can't remember if I kicked her out of the apartment or not. I don't think so, no, because, she was paying her rent. There was no real reason to kick her out, but I definitely ended that when the year ended that friendship as well. And she recently got in touch with me on Facebook Messenger and wanted to be friends again, and I never answered her back. I think I made a post asking you guys what to do, but I already knew. No thanks. You betray me, you don't get to be my friend again. I can forgive you, but I'm not forgetting, and I'm not allowing you back in my life. Yeah, no regrets there. Anyway, that's part 4.
So, as we all know that so many Black people are, let's say, here, let me talk about myself personally. If you are a white person watching this video, I'm a very joyful person. I can be a very vibeful person. And I know even my brothers, even my sisters, even my friends are all vibeful. Not only me here in motherland, but even there in America, whether it's America in the United States or in South America, or even in the Caribbean countries, all over the world where there is a Black person, you must find vibe, like 100% of vibe. So as she's saying that, she left her own country where she lived, she was brought, and left her family, her mother and father, in Canada, and came to Jamaica. Why? Because first of all, the weather was favorable. As we all know, Canada has extreme cold conditions all over the year. It's only a few months that they experience sunlight, but when you come to Jamaica, it's sunny throughout the year. It's so sunny throughout the year, to a limit that the weather condition there is favorable. It's favorable to anybody. So this is one of the reasons why she chose to come to Jamaica. So not only that, but the vibe that she gets in Jamaica, the way she interacts with the Jamaican people, the culture, the love that she has for the black culture. She even chose not to teach in her own country and came to teach in Jamaica. Why? Because she feels that even the black culture, even the black people should be educated, should be given the right to know the things that are happening in the world. She teaches English literature, which English is obvious, the language that is being spoken around all the world. If you don't know English, you can't interact with anybody. If you are in a foreign country, you must be knowing English. So she chose to come and teach English literature and art in Jamaica. So I think this woman tells us how all white people should be treating black people with respect to the culture and to the respect to the culture and to the people who are black. Yeah. So I think white people should consider of what they normally think about black people. Not that they are superior or something, that they see black people inferior, that they are better than black people. No, we are all the same. We are all the same. This woman proves that being black isn't a bad thing. Being black isn't a bad thing. So many black people are successful in this world. So many black people are successful in this life. And living in the surrounding of black people, you will never get bored. Who wants to live a bored life? Who wants to live a bored life? Nobody wants to live a bored life. So all I can say is that even if you're black, even if you're white, even if you're a Japanese, or even if you're an Indian person, every race should be considered equal. We should be interacting with anybody. I'm not saying that whites are boring. I'm not saying that Japanese are boring. All the thing that I'm saying is that if you need like maximum vibe, interact with black people. Like you'll enjoy. Even blacks know that when you are interacting with your fellow black person, like there is pure vibe. So this video tells us that not all white people treats black people very bad, but it shows that there are some white people that has humanity and accepts that black people are not inferior. Like black people are just the same as white people. Like we are all the same. So I don't see the point of taking black people as inferior. Yeah. And I want to thank you for the subscribers, for continuing seeing my content. Yeah. Hope you will get to watch the next one. Thank you. Bye.